Hi, everybody. So, welcome to another Wednesday class with me, Paul, at Move, Create, Practice. And just wanted to start off by letting you know that um, the lesson library is going to be free between August 29th and the 31st. And yeah, it would be awesome if you all just sign up before the 31st because the monthly rate for the library is going to increase in September. So if you like what you get to learn from the movement library, then sign up before the 31st so that you can continue to pay the current price. So today we'll go back to the feet or continue on with the theme of our fabulous feet. Something that I am that Mr. Jeremy Krause has inspired me to do because, yeah, feet have been a mystery for me for a while. As a child, I had really flat feet, and then somehow finding ballet, which helped me in some respects, but then in other respects, yeah, also gave me a whole just mountain of ideas about how my feet and ankles should and shouldn't be. So, really learning from Jeremy Krause has given me a lot of insight into the function and the beauty of our feet, what we can do with our feet. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my idea about the everyday artist because, as maybe most of you don't know, but my background is in dance and contemporary dance. And I'm currently a rehearsal director at a contemporary dance company called Of Curious Nature here in Bremen, Germany. And so I teach Feldenkrais to a lot of artists, to dancers. I've taught some actors, and also currently also providing classes to musicians. And however, I don't want to. My view on Feldenkrais is that it really helps us become an everyday artist because, you know, how someone picks up their child, how someone would cook, hold the spatula, how one pays attention to the detail of what they're doing and appreciates the richness in even the simplest things. I consider these people artists. So you don't have to be someone who's performing on stage to earn and own that title. So I hope with this lesson and all the lessons, all the other Feldenkrais lessons that you do, you will find that window of time where you can just slow down and just really appreciate the things that happen from giving yourself attention. And through this process, you learn to bring more quality into your daily lives. So let's get started. Um, you will need a mat or maybe you have a carpet, so somewhere comfortable to lie down. But before you go down there, can you just stay in standing? And in standing, just feel how grounded you are today, or what feeling you have on your feet or of your feet today. Do you feel floaty, light, or are you feeling weighted, almost sucking the floor towards you? And there's no ideal that that fits everyone. So see, do you like the way you feel on your feet? And go for a walk and just see when you're walking, do you sort of plop your one foot forwards and then you kind of fall into that foot? Sort of, I'm thinking like a horse, you just go plop, plop, plop. Some people might call that stomping down the runway. Or are you a kind of walker where you push from the back leg to ease the weight onto your front foot? So instead of falling, you push from your back leg onto your front foot to shift your weight. And do you experience your walking as something that's happening in your hip joints? Is it something more of your knee, your ankles, your feet? Or do you feel that it is a collective effort of all of these joints of your legs? And of course, um, with the participation of all the joints in your torso as well. So try another thing. If you have a wall near you, or maybe a heavy piece of furniture, then just push it away and see how strong do you feel. Yeah. How much force are you getting from the floor through your feet, through your legs? Yeah. And then just let's try one more thing. Okay. And just standing, pretend you're at your favorite club, listening to your favorite music, and just see how you bop a little bit. So you let your knees and your hips, your ankles loose, and just bum, bum, to your own rhythm. How are you grooving now? That I think doing so much performative dance, there are many times I forget. I've forgotten that dance actually is a very social, feel good activity. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if these things will improve after this lesson. So please come and lie on your back and have your legs long to start and your arms alongside your body. And take a moment to just settle down. Notice which places are touching the floor, which places are enjoying a restful contact, yummy contact with the floor, which places are raised off of the floor. Is it your lower back, the space behind the back of your neck? Feel your shoulders. Paying attention to which parts of your pelvis are making contact with the floor. And how much of the back of your legs. And notice if one hip joint feels a bit different from the other hip joint. And does the difference contribute to a difference in sensation of length between one leg and the other? Does one hip joint feel looser, more lengthened? The other hip joint maybe a bit more a bit shorter or compressed, more folded. Yeah. Okay. And just roll your head a little bit from side to side, not too much. Just gently, not going your full range to have a certain taste of, taste meaning idea, a certain taste of how soft does the neck feel at the moment. So please bend your knees and stand your feet. So can you please raise your right foot off of the floor so that your right leg is bent and just hanging in the air, and your right knee is somewhat above, resting above your right hip joint. So just find a place where your right knee can stay in the air so that your right leg is relaxed. Your left foot is still standing on the floor, and do a very tiny movement of bringing your right knee a bit towards you so that you would be bending your right hip a little bit more, and then bring your right knee a little bit away from you. So you do this very gentle oscillation. Again, immediately it's reminding me of how you would, how some people would gently swirl their cognac in their beautiful glass. Just so not a huge, gross movement, but a very small, fine one. And just feeling how smooth and lubricated does the right hip joint feel at this moment, bringing the right knee towards you and away from you. And allow yourself to continue breathing as you do this. Yeah. Okay. See, are there places where the movement in the hip joint, so it's a bit like this, yeah, that you're doing. This being your right knee, this would be your hip socket, and you just do that a little bit. So see if it jumps a bit, if it's a little bit shaky, or if there are parts that are also smooth. Okay, please bring your right foot down again, and then do the same thing with your left knee. So you lift your left foot off the floor and let go of the left thigh so that your lower leg is hanging, dangling in the air. And like this, bring your left knee towards you a little bit and away. Yeah. And just feel how your left thigh is moving inside the left hip joint. And how is this hip joint feeling compared to the right one? Easier, a little bit more jumpy? How is it? Okay, great. And also notice with your left knee, are you keeping your left knee parallel, or your left thigh, is it perpendicular to the floor? So it's completely vertical, or is it easier to have your left knee a bit open to the sides, to the left side? Yeah, and continue to bring the left knee towards you in a way, and see if it might be a little easier to have your left knee a bit more open. Okay, so just bring your left foot down and keep the feet standing. And we're going back to the right foot. So with the, just doing the beginning of the movement, can you begin to lift the front of your right foot off the floor a bit, which means that you would lean more into the right heel, and then bring it down. And do this several times, making it easy. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to see if you might be holding something in the neck, in your tongue, your jaw, um, your chest, just to slightly lift up the front of your right foot. Yeah. And so you feel how you're rolling to the back of your right heel, shifting the weight to the right heel in order to make the front of the right foot light. Okay. And what does anything happen to how you're leaning over your the sacrum, the back of your pelvis? Does your lower back arch as you lift the front of your right foot? Does it round? And notice also behind the neck. Does the neck lift and lower as you lift and lower the front of your right foot? Do you feel any sort of weight shift, any rolling behind the back of your head? Yeah. And then leave that, keep the right foot standing, and then now lift the right heel a little bit from the floor. Almost you're just getting ready to do the movement. And already does something shift behind your pelvis, your lower back, neck and back of head. So only noticing what you can for now. Yeah, what's different about lifting your heel instead of the front of your right foot? And now can you rock over the bottom of your right foot in a way that you alternate between lifting the front of the right foot and then lifting the heel? Yeah, nice and easy. And sense the whole length, along the whole length of your spine. See, does your spine respond and adapt to this alternating movement of lifting your right heel and then lifting the front of your right foot? Yeah. And just do it slowly so that you have time to feel, understand, appreciate what's going on in your spine, how the weight might be shifting um, over the places of contact behind you. You don't need to do this perfectly. Yeah. Is there any movement of your chin coming a bit down towards your throat and away as you rock over your right foot? Okay. So now let's not be that careful, but let's pretend that you're a percussionist. So with your right foot, can you tap the front of your right foot on the floor? So you lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower the front of the right foot a few times and see how there you will feel the vibration throughout your whole self on the floor. Do you feel this in the neck, in the vertebrae of your chest, your ribs? Mm-hmm. Great. And then do the same thing with your right heel. Lift up and down, up and down. So you tap. You become a percussionist with your right heel. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to make it regular. Maybe you can syncopate, boom, ba boom, ba bum, bum, be a bit jazzy with your right heel. And see if you notice that your spine actually isn't held, that it actually moves in order for your right heel to be free. And now alternate, tapping the front, back, front, back, front, jazzy again. And maybe you can have your right foot alternate this tapping of the front and the heel, front of the foot and the heel. And you can change the position. You can open your right foot a bit to the side, a bit to the closer to your left foot. Yeah. Have a bit of fun with this. See how you might feel some jiggling all over, some shaking in your torso. And how do you feel your pelvis and the movement inside your right hip as you do this? Creating your own music. You see, you're an artist already. Okay, and leave that. And now just slowly again, lift once the front of the foot and then the heel. And do that slowly a few times, see if it got a little easier. Not being so careful, being more artistic. And then let your legs go long and take a rest. And feel if the right leg might be a bit longer or it feels different, looser. Do you notice a change in the ankle, in the right hip? Mm-hmm. So come back with your feet standing and just lift your right knee or lift your right foot off the floor, have the lower leg dangling, and bring the right knee again a bit towards you and away. And see if it feels more defined, clearer, looser. If it feels better now, doing this movement of bring your right knee towards you and away, bending in the hip, and then letting it bring, not bending it, unbending it. If that feels more lubricated in your right hip joint. Okay, great. Have your legs go long again. Just take a rest. Mm-hmm. So, um, just want to remind you all that um, if I keep on going and going and you get tired, you absolutely do not have to follow my pace. That you can, at any point, take a pause, even stretch out your legs to rest. So, yeah, you can learn at your own tempo, your own rhythm. So take a rest whenever you feel like you need to. So bend your knees again, stand your feet. And now can you please lift your right foot off the floor. Once again, have the right lower leg dangling. And this time, just flex and extend your ankle. So very much like what you just did with your right foot on the floor. So you think about bringing the front of the foot up towards your shin, and then you bring it away. And just do that a few times. Flexing and extending the right ankle. And can you only do the portion which feels easy? So you don't want to go all the way and push it to the end and then push the ankle to extend to the end of the range. Just think about the surfaces inside the joint. Yeah. And how just find the range which is very smooth, having gliding quality. Great. Feel the width of your neck, the width of your of the back of your tongue. See if you can let go of any tension in your mouth and your neck. Yeah. And now see what does this movement of flexing and extending your right ankle have any effect on your right knee coming closer towards you and away? So bending in your right hip joint more and unbending it a little bit. Yeah. So try what it would be like to flex your right ankle. So bring the toes up towards your shin and then bringing your right knee towards you. And as you extend in your right ankle, you bring your right knee a bit away from you, and a bit, not more than, I would say, an inch, 2.5 centimeters, and even less if you want. And just see if there's a correlation between flexing in your right ankle and then bringing your right knee towards you, and then extending in your right ankle and leading your right knee to go a bit away from you. Okay, so take a pause, and now can you do the opposite combo? So when you are, can you bring your right knee towards you as you extend your right ankle, and as you bring your right knee away from you, you flex in your right ankle. And again, permit yourself to do a smaller movement, yeah, without going into the powerful muscular effort to go to the end of your range, but find that floating, gliding, smaller range. So you're communicating, bathing your nervous system with the experience of ease. Yeah. Giving a chance for all these different parts of yourself to speak to one another, have a conversation, and not shout. Great. And can you feel this movement being led by your foot, by the movement of your ankle? Or are you doing this driving from your knee? So see if there's a slight difference if you think about doing this from your right ankle, or if you're doing this more from the knee initiating. Okay, so please just stand your right foot. Feel how it is on the floor now. And then let your legs be long. And take note of any differences, any further differences you feel between your right leg and your left leg, your whole right side compared to your left side. Okay. Come back with your knees bent, your feet standing once more, and then bring your right knee up towards you so that your right foot is lifted off the floor and somewhere where you can hang out with your right foot, your right leg bent in the air. Yeah, with the right knee somewhat over your pelvis, let's say. But then now see, is it easier with your right knee directly over the right hip joint, or is it easier to have your right knee wander a bit to the right and have it suspended a bit open to the right? Yeah. So you can adjust this position to your own needs. So now, can you, instead of having your right lower leg dangling, can you have the right lower leg parallel to the floor and ceiling, meaning that your right foot will be at the same height as your right knee. And in this position, just bend, so flex and extend your right ankle. Just feel that, noticing how there will be movement experienced down along the bones of your right leg into the right hip joint. And perhaps you might feel some shift under your pelvis. And now combine the movement with bringing your right knee towards you and away from you. And see, which option do you go for first? Do you flex your foot and you bring your right knee towards you? Or are you extending your foot in order to bring your right knee towards you? And just stick with that for a few times. Yeah. Again, noticing if you're holding your breath. Yeah. Have that nice beach holiday breathing as you're doing this. Let the neck be easy. And now, remember, if you get really tired in your thigh, just bring your right foot down, stand it for a bit, let, let the effort disappear, and then come back to doing the movement again, bringing your right lower leg parallel to the ceiling and floor. And this time, just change what you've been doing. Do the opposite of what you've been doing. So you're flexing and extending your right ankle and bringing your right knee towards you and away from you. Making smooth movement. Very easy. Yeah. Think how the right thigh is moving, is rocking inside the right hip joint as you do this. Finding your own rhythm, your own speed. Okay, and just bring your right foot down to stand. Check out how your right foot is standing, how your right leg feels compared to your left foot and your left leg. And then let your legs go long again. And how is the right hip compared to the left hip? Your right leg compared to the left leg? And is there anything noticeable, noticeably different between your two sides? And just roll your head a little bit from one side to another. Slowly, softly. Anything that you observe being different between the two sides. And let's roll through one side and come up to stand. And notice if you feel something different about your right leg and the joints of the right leg compared to your left leg. Is there any qualitative difference? Do you feel more secure on your right leg now? Or is it looser? What impressions do you have between the difference of your two sides? Go for a walk and just try things out. Is there a difference between your balance and stability from one side to another? And how are is there also a difference between your two hip joints? Okay. So once you've walked around a bit, then please come down to your back again and let's explore the left side. So let's start already with both knees bent and both of your feet standing. Yeah. And see that there's a comfortable distance between your feet so that you're not straining in the hips unnecessarily to keep your legs supported over your feet. And now can you just simply lift the front of your left foot and then the heel of your left foot. And it doesn't have to be big. Yeah, just a little bit and a little bit. And just feel how the rest of you responds or prepares itself so that your the front of your foot can lift eventually higher, and then the heel, if you wanted to, the heel could lift higher. But it's really interesting to see how you even prepare yourself for the possibility of lifting the front part of your left foot, and then preparing for the possibility of lifting the heel of your left foot. Yeah. And just let your attention scan through the weight under your pelvis, behind your pelvis, and lower back. Yeah. And then feel how your neck might be responding, meaning does it go raise a bit, lower a bit, in correlation to the lifting, the alternate lifting of the heel and front of your left foot. And is your head, is it also rocking a bit? Chin down, chin up? Maybe, maybe not. See, are there places in your spine which do not move with the movement of lifting the front of your left foot, the heel? Yeah. And maybe try, can you not let anything move in your neck, in your chest, your lower back, your pelvis? Try to hold that still and just slightly lift the front of your foot, the back of the heel, and notice if you actually have to hold yourself with some tension in order to prevent any movements of in your torso as you lift the front and heel, front of the foot, and then the heel of your left foot. And then once again, just let your body soften and see if now you're more aware of how your whole spine, your pelvis, head, they move, they shift as you lift the front and heel of the left foot alternately. And now go tap a few times, make some music, letting the front of your foot lift and fall, 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 and then the heel a few times. So if you're interested in really identifying which places are moving, behind your neck, your chin, behind your lower back and pelvis, your chest, you can do that. But if you'd rather not, just make this movement pleasurable and easy. Yeah. And then maybe clarity will emerge. It will float up to the surface of your attention and alternate front of the foot, back of, and then lifting the heel. Lift front of the foot, back of the heel. Da 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 da. Yeah. Like you got a really good tune stuck in your head. And then let the foot wander to another place. Yeah. Can have very capricious feet. They don't have to be, or left foot now. Very capricious left foot. Doesn't have to be regular. Have a predictable rhythm. Okay. And then just stand your left foot and bring your left foot, lift it off the floor so that your left knee is still bent and your left lower leg is dangling in the air. And just bring your left knee towards you and away from you a few times. So left knee, and down here would be your hip joint, and just do a little bit. Bring the knee towards you, away from you, towards you, away from you, and see if that became smoother again. Or is it just clear? Oh, that's where my left hip joint is. Do you feel it softer? Okay. Let it go. Take a rest. And how does your left side, your left leg, left hip joint feel now? Yeah, how are you breathing? And bend your knees. Once again, stand your feet. And so this aspect of, or this quality of being an artist, I think is also, in order to appreciate things, there's a skill where you're able to zoom in to something that looks very simple, but when you give time and upon a closer look, you start appreciating just how immense um, it is and how detailed it is. So I think about especially Japanese ceramics and how sometimes it's just, if you can just appreciate that simple round curved shape, the texture of the the cup or whatever it is, a bowl, and if you can feel um, into your hip joints, the bones and the joints in that way, and this lesson, it would be the thigh bone and the cup of the hip socket, and just to feel into the roundness, the smoothness in the simplest movements, and to see how every time you can make this smoother and smoother or clearer, then I think it will really help with um, some beautiful changes. So, with that said, please lift your left foot off the floor, keeping your left knee bent, and have the left lower leg dangling, and see if you need to have your left knee a bit open to the sides. And just simply, with that uh, delicate, zoomed in look, just flex your left ankle and extend it a little bit. Yeah, it's very much what I'm doing with my left wrist here. A little bit towards flexing the left foot, bringing the front of your foot up towards the direction of your left shin, and then extending the left ankle. And just stay with that for a bit, making it easy, light, simple. And does that invite your left knee? Pull your left knee towards and away from you. Yeah. And see when you flex your left ankle, is your left knee coming closer to you, or is it going away from you a bit? And just stick with whatever pattern you have at the moment. Yeah. Okay. So now do the opposite thing. So your left lower leg is still dangling, and do the opposite angle and knee combination. So if you have been flexing your left foot as you pulled your left knee closer towards you, then as you flex the left foot this time, you want to bring your left knee away from you. And as you extend the left ankle, then the left knee would go away. No, sorry, then the left knee would come towards you. So let me start again. If you have been flexing your left ankle and pulling your left knee towards you, then as you flex your left ankle, then move your left knee a bit away from you. Yeah. And experience how that is. And see, can it be the flexing and extending, the movement of your ankle that guides your left knee towards you and away from you? Yeah. Making sure that you can be soft in your shoulders, your neck, the area of your mouth and jaw. Your eyes can be soft as well. So no work. See how you can drift a bit in this movement, removing the feelings of extra efforting. And then stand your left foot on the floor, remembering that you can take a rest whenever you need, and then just have a sense of how the left foot is supporting you on the floor now, how you feel in the left hip joint, and then let your legs be long and take a rest. Okay. Come with your feet standing again and lift your left foot off the floor and have your left lower leg parallel to the floor. So you'll be using some force in your left thigh to keep your left foot at the height of your left knee. And now just flex and extend your left ankle again. Yeah. And let's go together for this one. So flex your left ankle a bit, and you pull your left knee towards you, and as you extend the left ankle, you let the left knee move away from you. Yeah. Flexing the left ankle, bring the left knee towards you, extend the ankle, left knee goes a bit away. And can you zoom into that smoothness, this rolling inside the left hip joint? Then try the opposite combination. As you flex the left foot, you bring your left knee away from you. And as you extend the left ankle, then you would bring the left knee towards you. And you can do what you want. Your toes can stay soft for the moment, just maybe moving a bit. We can go back to the toes another time, or maybe next time. Just make this easy again. It's really not super, yeah, don't need to get too heady about it. Just make it soft, smooth. Great. Bring your left foot to stand once more, and then extend both legs. Okay. Sense any further changes you feel on your left side. For some people, what happens is that the joints become clearer along your whole left leg, the left hip, the left knee, the left ankle. And for other people, there's a feeling of wholeness, of almost being ironed out, where the joints are not felt, but it's because there's an absence of effort that it just feels like one piece. How is it for you? Or maybe you have another type of experience along your left side now. So bend your knees, stand your feet, and can you now lift the front of both of your feet, and then put it down, and then lift both heels. And go back and forth, lifting the front of both feet and then both heels. So you roll over the bottoms of your feet. And your 2 feet do the same thing. Yeah, both heels up, lower, and both fronts of the feet, the toe sides, they would come up. Yeah. And again, just notice how round you might feel this movement, not only in your hip joints, but is there a sort of rolling behind your head? Any sort of type of rolling behind your pelvis? How does your pelvis shift? Yeah. When do you feel like you're folding, you're bending more in your hip joints? Is that when you're lifting the toes off the floor and you're more on your heels, or is it rather when you're lifting your heels? And don't go you can try, you can go the full range, but what is very interesting is if you don't go the full range, but you go the just do the beginning of the movement. Yeah. You feel your whole spine. Does your spine sort of slide a bit on the floor? And go a bit faster again. So almost tapping front of the feet, tapping, then the heels can tap, and then alternate. Yeah. Front of the feet, heel, front of the feet, heel. Can't speak that fast. Great. Yeah. And then let it go. Take another rest. Okay. Now, stand both feet and lift both feet up from the floor and have the two lower legs dangling. Your knees are bent. And see, where would you like to have your two knees? Are they open a little bit to the side so that you feel that you have more room to bend in your hips? And so you have your legs just suspended up in the air with the knees bent. The lower legs are hanging, dangling. And just flex and extend both ankles at the same time. And notice if there's one foot that goes ahead of the other. Yeah. Letting this neck area again, the back of the jaw, I like to think about the back of the tongue, the back of the mouth. The throat is easy. Yeah. And start feeling what this does to your knees. When would you like to bring your knees towards you? When would you like to move your knees away? Yeah. And just stick with that for the moment. And if you're a bit lost, then I'll propose that you flex in your ankles and you bring your knees towards you. And then as you extend in your ankles, then you bring your knees a bit away. Yeah. So you don't need to make it a huge movement of your knees. Yeah. Only the part where you don't feel that you need to work very hard to hold your knees up. Yeah. Just a very, very easy. Dare to do less, and then, yeah. If you want to do a bit more later, that's fine, but dare to do a bit less in the beginning. Okay? And switch the combination, the ankle-knee combination, ankles and knees combinations. So we're still flexing, extending the ankles of both feet. Yeah. And then do the opposite. So perhaps this time you're extending the ankles as you bring your two knees towards you, flexing two ankles as you bring the knees away. Yeah. Going for a rhythm that um, makes it easy for you to feel what you're doing, makes it clear how your thigh bones are moving inside your hip joints, what's happening behind the back of your neck, how is your chin moving, if it's moving at all, your lower back, and let your eyes be soft. Great. Bring your feet back to standing, back to the floor, and then extend your legs. Mm. So I guess you that you have already guessed what's coming next. So stand both feet and bring your two lower legs parallel to the ceiling and the floor. Again, you can have your knees a bit more open to the sides if that's easier for you. You don't need to have the knees hanging to the sides, but find a place where your knees are, that there's some sort of verticality of your, or let's say like this, that your knees can be hovering over your pelvis, more or less, and your knees. And so yeah, the legs are just comfortably hanging in the air with the lower legs parallel. Flex and extend both ankles so that you can move towards the idea of an airiness in the quality of how you do this. Yeah, very fine. Not using unnecessary effort. Flex, extend the ankles, bring the knees towards you and away. You know the drill by now. And see what's different with your two lower legs parallel to the floor, that the feet are at the same height as your two knees. Then try the other way. So the other ankle and knee option. Yeah. Go a little bit faster. And try the first option again, a little bit faster. Yeah, is this becoming more familiar? And can you feel how it's possible to have the ankles initiate the movement of the knees? And notice, as you're doing this, are you allowing the hips to bend and unbend? Are you moving the thigh in the hip joint, or are you doing this more from your lower back? And see if you can do it more. Take a rest first. Stand your feet for a moment. Yeah. So just go back to have your feet raised again, and your feet your lower legs can be dangling or parallel, and just see that as you're flexing and extending your ankles and bringing your knees towards and away from you, you can do this by rolling the pelvis a lot, or you can roll the pelvis can roll a bit less, and that you actually have more movement inside the hip joints without straining, without forcing yourself, but that there is movement happening inside the hip joints, of the thighs inside the hip joints. Yeah, flexing, extending your ankles as you bring the knees towards and away from you, and then trying the other option. Okay, let that go. Take a rest. Let your legs go long. And since if your legs are longer now, and if you also feel that more places have settled onto the floor, do you feel more contact, more area of contact behind you? So I'd like to propose another variation to play with, and it makes things maybe a bit more musically interesting. So if you wish to try this, yeah, here it is. So bend your knees and stand your feet, and you can choose whether you want your lower legs dangling or whether it's clearer for you to have your lower legs at the same parallel to the floor and ceiling so that your feet are at the same height as your knees. And can you just bend and extend your 2 ankles? And keep going in that rhythm and slowly bring both knees towards you. And you keep on moving in your ankles as you slowly bring. So it doesn't mean that you need to bring your ankles into a bigger movement, but your knees don't have to move more, but your knees just move a bit slower towards you and away from you. And so the movement of flexing and extending your 2 ankles will be a bit faster. So maybe you bend and extend your 2 ankles 3 or 4 times in each direction of your 2 knees. So as you bring the 2 knees towards you, you bend and extend your ankles 2 to 4 times, and then as you bring the 2 knees away from you, you bend and extend your ankles continuously 2 to 4 times. Breathing in the meanwhile. So it's very musically interesting because there's a rhythm, a certain tempo, of your ankles. There's a different tempo of your knees and a different tempo of your breathing. Yeah. Great. Stand your feet for a moment. Take a short pause. So now, here's the other layer. Can you, with both feet standing, can you lift the front of one foot and the heel of the other foot? And then alternate like that. So your 2 feet, your 2 ankles are doing the opposite movements. As one heel lifts, the front of the other foot. As one heel lifts, the front of the other foot will come up. Yeah. So it's like you're walking. So now have both feet in the air, and can you continue to to have the 2 ankles do the opposite thing? So one ankle flexes as the other one extends, and keep doing this. And as you keep the speed of your ankle movements in this opposite way, can you bring your knees towards you and away from you? And yeah, just this might be a completely new movement. It might take your brain a bit of time to adjust, but just see that there are so many things that we're able to do in just this bending and in this flexing and extending of our ankles, our knees, our hip joints. Yeah. Okay. Let it all go. Have another rest with your legs long. Feel the hip joints. Feel whatever you notice is different, softer. How you breathe. How's your lower back? Yeah. And roll your head a little bit from side to side. Did anything change there? Then please bend your knees and stand your feet one last time. And simply bring your right knee towards you and away from you a little bit, like we did in the very beginning. And see how does how does the right thigh move in the right hip joint now? Is it much easier? Then try the same thing. Stand your right foot and then lift the left knee towards you, bring it towards you and away from you. So this very gentle oscillation. And see if it's that also oily, yeah, smoother. Great. When you're ready, please roll through one side and come to stand. Take your time without any rush and see what becomes more present in standing. And in fact, are you standing a bit differently? How do you experience your support, the support of your feet your legs, your hips, you. Hmm. And please just bend a bit your knees. Yeah. And you can start to go back to your groovy bopping and see, is that a bit different? And then how is it now to go for a walk? Do you have more spring in your step, more push? Are you able to find the floor better? And what is your sense of power, stability, of being able to exert force? Are you able to also hold your ground? Then go and push that thing that you were pushing in the beginning of the lesson, a wall, heavy piece of furniture, and see if you have again this you found the finding clarity in these joints of your legs. Has that offered you a more grounded strength in pushing? And maybe pulling is also going to be easier now. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this lesson and you can go back to just bopping and do whatever feels organic, feels pleasurable to do now. And yes, I will see you next Wednesday. And just to remind you that the library at Move Create Practice is open, is free from August 29th to the 31st. So the library is free between or from August 29th to the 31st. And if you sign up for the library this month before the 31st, then you can continue to pay the current price instead of the, the slightly higher price in September. So take advantage of that. Thank you all for joining, and I hope that you've got happier feet and hips and happier, become a happier artist as well, an everyday artist. Thank you.